Good morning, boys, and welcome to a realistic day in the life of a digital nomad in South America. And big emphasis on the word realistic here. So I'm sure you know, but a lot of what you see on Instagram and YouTube isn't real. It's a highlight reel of people showing off the best parts of being a digital nomad. And just the other day, I saw some guy, I want to say it was in Mexico. He's partying all night, and the next afternoon, he goes to the beach. He's like coding from a hammock. His laptop's on his lap. Then he's going up in a hot air balloon for lunch. Like, the only thing realistic about that is the laptop frying his balls. It's gonna make it impossible for him to have kids in the future. Like, that might happen on occasion, but just not day-to-day life for most nomads. And to keep it $150, I'm guilty of this too. I dropped a day in the life video recently, and it's super fun, super exciting, but it's planned out on one of those days where I knew I had a ton of fun, exciting stuff happening. I pre-planned the day out to pack as much as I could, and that's just not day-to-day life. This is not gonna be one of those videos. I wanna give you a good sense of what you actually can expect on a regular basis. That even starts with the weather. Like, it's pretty gloomy today. It just started raining on me a bit. If this was anyone else's day in the life video, they would have cut it. We'll film again tomorrow when the weather's better and all that stuff, but not me and not today. So let's start off with the time. It is not 5:15 a.m. right after sunrise where I preach getting up early and rise and grind. It's actually closer to 7, which is very late for me. The truth is, being in Brazil and most of South America, there's a lot of cute cats, and I'm not talking felines here. So I'm often up much later than I would like to admit. I try to plan dates as soon as it gets dark, but what's funny is I can actually see on my health stats, just my average sleep, just shoot down the second I arrived in Brazil. So I'm sort of in a recovery catch-up mode right now, trying to get as much sun as I can through these clouds to wake up and try to not waste the day, be as productive as I can, even though I'm off to a bad start. And I really hate it when you like lose the morning because you're setting up your day to not be as successful, but working what we got here. So I come up here every morning, get that sunlight in your eyes, and just run through what I'm grateful for. And today I was doing the usual. I'm grateful I can travel the world, that I get to work remotely, but I passed 2 absolutely incredible, good-looking gay guys on my way here. I'm talking like nice jawline, hunter eyes, thick hair. If Wheat Waffles or any of the black pillars were here, they'd be mouth-breathing hard, gawking at these guys. So I just added, I'm grateful for these 2 good-looking gay guys. That's 2 more absolute baddies left in the world for the rest of us. Not all heroes come in all forms, so appreciate your service, gentlemen. The only downside is, as I walked up this morning, I smelled weed, and I just can't stand. It's absolutely disgusting. It's technically illegal here, but I think like laws are more of a suggestion in a lot of South America. And I bring this up because as I was walking up here saying what I'm grateful for, and I smelled that weed, a thought just popped into my head I'd never had before. You've probably seen movies like Sicario and Narcos. You've seen the destructions the cartels cause, beheadings, crimes, murders, terrorism, abductions. And when you buy drugs, you're funding them. Like, you're allowing that to happen. You're making the world a worse place. Not only are you putting poison in your own body, making your own life worse and becoming reliant on a substance, plus making everyone around you smell this crap, slowing down your reaction time to autistic levels, but you're sponsoring terrorism. So I was just thinking, I'm so genuinely grateful I was never introduced to drugs when I was younger, because drugs are for losers, and I'm glad I never contributed to making the world worse in that way. I want to say the only drug I have had an addiction to is that gummy worm flavored pre-workout from Beyond Raw. I know it's loaded with a bunch of garbage and who knows what else is in there, but that stuff slapped harder than my dad before he left us. Anyway, in case you're wondering, I'm using this app called Find Time. I have it set up so every morning I have to say 10 things I'm grateful for and do a certain amount of steps every morning within like X amount of time. I have it set to 15 minutes. Otherwise, it charges me money, $50, and sends it that money to a charity that I hate, like the Democratic Socialists of America or the HRC, which are both just pretty awful if you're not aware. I mean, socialists are socialists, but these guys are definitely making the world a worse place. So it really motivates me to get out of bed and start my day so I stop bed rotting. But I'll just say a few more things I'm grateful for, and then we'll head back home. Check out the app if you're interested. Not sponsored or anything, but it is my app. So it's raining pretty hard right now, but I'm not really stressing it. One of the things I've seen here in Brazil is that it'll be pouring 1 minute, the weather's a complete 360, it's bright and sunny half an hour later. The one thing I was kind of stressing about as I was walking back was I woke up late, went through a shorter workout, I'm not gonna have time at the gym before I have to start my work, and I just remembered, wait, we're in Brazil. One of the benefits of being in most of South America is that it's 2 hours ahead of East Coast time. Which is nice because you can either, 1, wake up early and just rise and grind and get a huge chunk of work done, get those deep work focus sessions in before all your meetings start, people start pinging ringing you, Slack starts going off like a slot machine. So it can be a very productive time to get ahead and then be done for the rest of the day. Or you can sleep in and not stress about it because everything starts later. But anyway, as I was walking home, I'm kind of checking email, Slack, WhatsApp, is anything on fire? It's a bit of a bad habit. I normally just push it out as late as I can into my morning. But seeing as though my morning routine already kind of got screwed with waking up late. Now there are a bunch of nomads who have a lot more flexibility than me. There was one guy I met here who was a software engineer making bank in San Francisco. Then he started making more money selling kitchen products on Amazon. Now he just sort of works whenever he wants. He's telling me he took a 3-week trip to just explore all of California's coastline and national park, living in this truck with his girlfriend and just showering at Planet Fitness, which sounds like the dream life. I wish I had that level of flexibility, hopefully at some point in the future. For now, I work for a company in San Francisco, and there is like a very strong work culture. We're expected to always at least be available for a message 24/7. If someone pings you at 6 p.m. on Sunday, you're kind of expected to get to it within at least 3 hours, and preferably 20 minutes. If you waited till 8 a.m. on Monday, people would not like it. But then again, there's even more extreme companies in SF where people just always work, especially startups, to get those things to explode. So I can't complain. I'm obviously very grateful for my company letting me travel around South America. In other news though, today is a holiday in Brazil. It's something like a former slave Black Appreciation Day. I was asking the girls on a date with last night, but her English wasn't that good, so I didn't fully understand. Maybe someone can correct me in the comments. So the gym that I normally go to is closed. I'm gonna head over to a different one that's a little bit farther away, but still quite nice and is open 24/7 and on holidays. Hopefully have a good workout and kick the morning off the best we can.
You can be a heartbreak. You're on the wrong day. What you will lose. What will you choose? You're chasing all the highs.
All right, so getting some carbs in me now. I had a banana and these absolutely delicious banana date salt snacks. These are nature's candy, the best find I've found in all of Brazil. And then because I don't want to walk 10 minutes to a coffee shop and wait a little bit and come back, I'm just downing an energy drink. I know this is horrible. It's like drinking battery acid. The inside of the can's lined with plastic. There's some petroleum byproduct that kills your sperm and testosterone. There's probably artificial sweeteners that, I don't know, make your kids or worse, be Democrats. But don't worry, I'll like sauna a little extra this week, try to detox these demons. I don't normally like taking caffeine. I obviously prefer to have my sleep and diet and health optimized, but because my sleep's messed up from the night before, I don't feel that pop, 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 pop. I don't feel that pop, pop, jujum. This morning, doing what we gotta do. And then my water bottle's already got its creatine in there. I'm gonna down a few organ supplements, the essentials, and we'll go from here. All right, so I just called the Uber. And in case you haven't noticed, something that a girl pointed out to me the other night is that all of my clothes are black. And it completely slipped my mind that this is not normal for most people. When I say everything, I mean literally everything. I have one type of shirt, one type of beater, one type of short/underwear, one type of sock, and that's it. And it's all the same color, maybe 5 or 6 of each, and that's all I got. And I personally found that this minimalist style just makes everything in life a million times easier. Like in the past, I've worked for multiple retailers, Levi's, J. Crew, Docker, so I had an absurd amount of clothes, like 9 different types of jeans in just different colors. And I found myself only wearing the same few types of clothes every day, wishing that I could wear them more often because they fit me well, they looked good, I like the style, etc. And there's a few reasons for this. First of all, I'm 6'2" and I have like very lanky, long arms and legs, so it's quite hard to even find clothes that fit me in the first place. Most t-shirts come up to my belly button. Any long sleeve stops way before my wrist. So if I found those few clothes from these few brands that fit me quite well, why not just buy more of those? Now, on top of that, the majority of clothes out there are made out of polyester, elastane, spandex, nylon, and all of these are just different forms of plastic. And they're treated with absolutely garbage, nasty chemicals, which are really bad for your skin, especially if it's hot and that's touching your skin. Cotton is the best one out there. So if I manage to find clothes that fit me, which is rare enough, and they're cotton, that's a godsend. And then the benefit of going all black is if you spill something on it, you're a bit sweaty, it doesn't really show up. And one other huge benefit for me is being a YouTuber. If I'm missing a clip or I want to reuse a shot from a previous video, I'm always wearing the exact same clothes, so I can easily plug it in and nobody even notices. And the last point I'll say here is that if you get jacked, you just look good in anything, even a garbage bag. So I like this style. Nobody has ever noticed that I wear the exact same outfit to the gym or the exact same outfit to the cafe. And I've been doing this for the past like 3 or 4 years now. The only real downside is that every time your mom walks into your room and sees your closet, she has to say something about how I'm dark enough and I don't need to wear any more darker clothes. Some like white colonizer mentality they had in Pakistan. So if you're curious on the clothes that I have, the brands I get them from, they're either linked below or they're on my website in my testosterone safe clothing kit. Just search for it somewhere, you'll find it. And they're also all super cheap. I buy them on this bulk resale apparel website. Like one of those places people buy a ton of shirts and then stamp their business or brand or whatever on it and then give it out to their employees or marathon runners or something like that. Now you can buy detergent from this Airbnb villa that I'm staying at, which is really nice. The employees here are super kind. It's nice being able to just, ask for some more towels or something you need in the room without having to like message them because they're all around. But the one thing we're not using is their detergent, because like most detergents out there, there's probably like 97 mystery chemicals in it, some blends, some fragrance, you don't even know what's in it. So I just use baking soda and vinegar. It's all you really need. It cleans your clothes, removes odors. It is usually the primary ingredients in any basic laundry brand. Just they obviously add a bunch of other crap in there. And if you're using a shared laundry machine like I am, there's probably going to be some leftover residue detergent from the last person who used it, which is a bit of an L, but it is what it is. This is minimalist laundry and minimalist toxins. All right, so let's set this on Limpieza Pesada, which looks like the most like aggressive one because I went to the beach earlier this week. Turn the water down and hit start. Laundry's running, Uber's on the way. Let's get it.
Let's see how you do under pressure. Yeah, I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey.
So like I was saying, I normally come to this gym on Sundays when my main gym is closed, or on holidays like today. It's 24/7, a lot of the newer machines, tons of space, and about 18 minutes from home, which locals would consider very far, but if you're from the US, it's basically down the street. And it's for sure one of the nicest gyms on the island. Oh, and then every time I'm here, there's about 14 of those like wannabe fitness influencer hot chicks. They're just recording their ass from like the 9th different angle. I've definitely had a gym style phase. In fact, last year I went all out on getting jacked. I tracked everything, my calories. I slept 8 hours every night, not even 8, sorry, 9 hours every night. Literally took my training more seriously than ever before. I walked into that gym like I needed a PR or my family's gonna die. And I needed that PR on every single exercise. Heavy volume, hard intensity. And that year, I made more progress than any year before. But it wasn't what I thought it'd be. Like, I figured like I'd get like 4 times, 5 times bigger. I'd be huge like these influencers that are just like dedicated to getting jacked. But it was more like 1.5, 1.7 times what I would do if I did just normal bro training. And that made me realize like the thing that we all know, that the people you see on social media are either some genetic freaks or on roids. The most extreme, best physiques get pushed to the top. And doing that hard, intense training to get jacked, it just made me realize that those are unattainable physiques, or those are like lifelong, your mission physiques. It also made me not like working out for the first time in my life, and it made me do an absolute 360. So now I've switched things up where I spend the least amount of time in the gym to get the most amount of gains. So I'm running Jeff Nippard's min max programs. Like it says, most gains, least time. It's designed for cutting, and today is a full body day, which took some getting used to. Like I always preferred the bro splits or the upper lower ones. Figured I'd warm up the upper or the lower, and then I'd kind of not need so many warm up sets. If I did full body, I'd feel a bit cold on my legs if I did chest first, but I'm quite surprised how much I actually like full body. I feel more energized than I thought I would and a lot more powerful. The thing I like best though is everything is just 2 sets, 2 high quality sets, and you're done. When I was hitting 3, even though I was pushing hard, it just felt a lot like junk volume. I'm not trying to live in the gym anymore, plan my day and life around it like when I was younger. And to be honest, I find gym culture a bit cringe now. Not judging anyone, but compared to the average guy, I'm also super jacked. I know I'm nowhere near like fitness influencer level. Like I'd get clowned on if I wanted to be a fitness influencer. But if I'm gonna spend the rest of my life working out and trying to put on muscle, why not do the least amount for the most amount of gains? And I can spend that excess of time, which is quite a lot, leveling up in other areas. In fact, I remember seeing a reel of one guy who spent 16 years working out and he had a phenomenal physique, but it was nowhere near the insane steroid level stuff you see online. It made me realize if I'm gonna spend 16 years working out and I'm gonna get only some level like that, why not spend the least amount of time? Instead of 2.5 hours every day, bring it down to just 50 minutes. Use that excess time to grow in other areas. But anyway, back to what's happening. After I warmed up, I kicked it off with some neck training. If you don't know, your neck makes an absolutely insane difference in how you look. It's like the male version of makeup. You go from geek to freak instantly. And your neck also gets strong stupidly fast. With 45 pounds, I can easily hit 18 to 20 reps from the front. So what I like about this gym is it has the 25 kilo plates, which are about 55 pounds. It's a lot easier trying to balance like a 45 and a 10 on your plate, like some circus act. Not gonna lie, I was super embarrassed to do this back in the day. I would take like concrete slabs and do neck training at home, or I would move the plates to like a more secluded part of the gym where people couldn't see me. But eventually I just realized if you want to be exceptional, you can't be like most people. Most people should think you're a bit weird. Most guys, even guys that know that neck training works, don't do it because it looks a bit awkward. So if you want to stand out, you got to do what they're not willing to do. Then after I hit my hamstrings, I kicked off the quads. They have a belt squat machine here, which I really, really like. It's my first time trying it, and it just keeps the spine happy while your legs cry. After that, you know how it is, upper body now, chest, shoulders, lats, the whole works. My energy levels definitely felt a little low since I'm near the end of my cut, and after hitting neck and legs, you get gassed pretty fast. But pushing through, and the caffeine definitely did help. Fun fact for you, caffeine doesn't just, suppress your adenosine receptors, meaning that it hides how tired you feel. It also decreases your perceived exertion amount. What that basically means is when you're pushing really hard, you don't think you're pushing really hard. You think you're actually going lighter than what you actually actually are, which lets you push even harder. And I just found that really incredible. It's basically a miracle drum. And then I finally wrapped up by just blasting forearms, my weakest muscle. I'm dropping over 20 sets per week on these guys to kind of force them to grow. Obviously not long term, just 2-3 months, and I'll switch to like another weak muscle. And then finally did a little bit of hip alignment work because I found out I have a pretty bad imbalance last year. I came to physical therapy for a knee injury, and the guy made me realize that my hips are totally out of whack. I thought it was a genetic thing. I just have one leg longer than the other. But once I saw that, I just can't unsee it. And it looks really, really bad. That was probably the only benefit of physical therapy. Other than that, it was pretty useless. Did not help my knee injury at all. This guy actually did. Knees over toes guy. If you have a knee injury, sled backwards. It will absolutely transform and bulletproof them. But story for another day. And then one more hack for you. If you find yourself constantly throwing your phone on the ground and then picking it back up, try getting a magnetic phone case. I found myself like, changing the Spotify song, texting somebody, planning something, whatever, tossing my phone on the ground, doing my set, picking it back up. And I'm like, is there a better way? And I found out with a magnetic phone case, you can just plop it on any piece of metal equipment and it just sticks, which is quite nice. Plus, if you record like I do, you can just put it on a machine. You don't really need a tripod in the gym, or if you forgot your tripod like I did, it makes life a little bit easier. The one that I use, the best one that I've found, I've tried out quite a few, is linked in one of my kits below. I want to say it's the everyday carry one. It's not sponsored. I don't even think I make an affiliate link from it, but it's definitely something worth checking out. So workout is complete. I normally have a post-workout snack with me to get a little bit of carbs and protein in, although apparently there's some new studies showing that that's basically useless. They had like 2 groups of people. One of them get protein in immediately after working out and one after like 4 or 5 hours, and it basically made no difference to their gains over time. So another gym myth busted. Regardless though, I bit it off my routine, so I didn't even pack it last night. And then in other news, towards the end of my workout, Slacks started going off, emails were coming in, WhatsApps were hitting me, so I'm kind of answering those while I'm waiting for an Uber to show up. This is both for my job and for my business. Working with a UI UX designer to make the app really pop out. There's some really cool screens we're working on, especially for graphs and charts that are gonna just blow your mind, especially because most of the apps I've seen on the App Store do not do a good job with graphs or charts. They're slow, they're laggy, they're not swipeable. They try to use some custom third party. It's garbage. This is gonna turn out really nice. So nothing really that special this morning, but the plan is to head home, shower, clean up, and then start the day like a functioning adult.
I've been searching for someone to save me during the nights where I can't seem to figure it out. Oh, why?
All right, boys, looks like the sun is about to finally peep out of here. The weather switches up fast on this island, especially springtime. It's more crazy than a bipolar chick.
Oh, why? Every now and then a whisper in my ear takes me by the hand and draws me near. I can tell you why. It's you.
All right, boys, so I'm at my favorite cafe here in Lagoa, and one of the things I absolutely love about this place is they have an outdoor section. So you get all the benefits of a cafe, a place to work and meet people and cold approach and the good coffee smells, plus fresh air, shade. I read recently that the average prisoner now in the US spends more time outdoors than the average kid. Since a prisoner gets like an hour of outdoor time, and now kids spend less than that. But you need some outdoor, you need the fresh air, you need the sun, all that good stuff. The only downside with this is it's pretty loud. The street right next door gets really busy, especially around noon, but it's not a problem for me because I've doubled up. We got the earplugs in and we overlay them with the AirPod Maxes, which take the noise to pretty much near zero. It's a 10 out of 10 productivity hack. I'd highly recommend it. I literally bought the AirPod Pros just to help with noise, not even for, listening to music or anything. I already got the Pros for those. Then as usual, I ordered a late breakfast / early lunch. We got the same thing as normal, 10 eggs with cheese, no toast, no salad, none of that. As the Buddha once said, 10 eggs a day keeps the people will tell you that 10 eggs aren't and my doctor said that, and don't you know about the cholesterol? Those people look like this, and their doctor looks like this. Now on top of that, we got a delicious banana berry smoothie where I just swapped out the milk for water, just because I have a bit of a hard time digesting lactose, and it comes with a bunch of side effects if I have too much, acne, bloating, not fun stuff. As the saying goes, if your breakfast doesn't make at least 4 vegans cry, you're doing it wrong. Now, is this 100% grass-fed, grass-finished, organic, pasture-raised, pesticide-free, kissed by angels? No, but making the best I can with what we got. And while I'm downing these 2 absolutely delicious breakfast staples, I'm trying to get as much deep work done as I can. I've been banging out code, running tests, trying to get ahead, because I know that once you hit that time of the day where like the back-to-back meetings start and Slack starts going off like a casino machine, nothing really gets done. Even if you have like yourself muted and you don't have to say too much or do too much, it just destroys a big chunk of your productivity. So working as hard as I can until then. Nothing crazy out of the ordinary, just usual business. Right now it's November. Towards the end of the year, December time, that's when like the code freeze freezes happen, people take a lot of PTO, so nobody else really does anything, and it gets really lazy for tech companies. Not there yet. Right now, just another day, another dollar. All right, boys, so I got about 10 minutes till my next meeting, and I realized I've never actually told you why I came to Brazil. We turn back the clock. For the past year and a quarter, I have been working nonstop on this app. When I say nonstop, I don't mean like, nonstop. I mean literally nonstop. It was my life, grind mode 24/7. I'd wake up 6 a.m., just get all of my regular 9-to-5 job stuff done as fast as possible, hit the gym, and then just work on this until I fell asleep. There was no weekends, there was no fun time with friends, there was no family birthday, there was no graduation of people I know. Like, this was my entire life. It was just a season of work. And then also just the 3 months leading up to this trip, I was competing for this app inside of a hackathon. And then it was just like, I had no other thoughts in my head except building this. Obviously, when you try something new and you want to do well, you're gonna fail, you're gonna hit roadblocks. One thing works, but it breaks 2 things. Building this was the most difficult, most challenging thing I've ever done in my entire life. At the same time, incredibly rewarding. I know you guys probably see like these, I built an app in 5 minutes, or my no-code solution and making me $50,000 per, like, that ain't reality. If you can build something in 5 minutes, in a day, in a weekend, so can everybody else. So it's basically useless. The price goes down to 0 and it basically becomes free. And to top that off even more, I didn't want to build something that was nice to have, that was good, that yeah, I'd recommend it. I wanted to build something great, incredible. I wanted anybody who used this app to absolutely transform their mornings. They're forced to go outside, get sunlight in their eyes, start moving. They start their day on an incredible note. They're awake, they're ready to go. And then on top of that, the app gives them everything they need to start their day with success. Knowing traffic to work, knowing how they slept last night, knowing their meditation streak, able to jump into a meditation session, being able to log habits, log when they took their medications for that day. Anything and everything in between, prayers, knowledge widgets. I wanted the app to make sure that it was customized to everybody to make sure they had the absolute best morning possible. And that difference, well, it might seem small, between good to great is absolutely massive. Good is a couple of weekends, some hard work, fixing a few things. Great is 80-hour coding weeks. It's coding till your eyes shake. It's fixing bugs and problems that most people will never even know existed. And I also knew that this was going to be a long game. I didn't want it to just be like one app I had and another one, this other business. This was going to be a huge part of my life for at least the next 5 years. So I didn't want to get burned out or give up when I was building it. So one of the best books I read, I want to say it was maybe 2.5 or 3 years ago, was The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, where he talks about these periods of intense work and then like relaxation. So he'll like work really hard on something for a few months while he's in California, and then he'll go somewhere else, another country, for a few months to kind of unwind, relax, get his energy back up, and then hit it hard again. He believes that this period of intense work and then intense relaxation, although obviously we're not like going to a club and partying or taking degenerate drugs, is more productive than just trying to have an intense productivity year. So I went to Argentina for January and February of this year, and I tried really hard to relax and unwind, but this is going to sound insane, but I literally was not able to. All I did was just work, go to the gym, and back to work. I would code until I passed out in front of the laptop. And this sounds crazy to say. Maybe some people watching this can relate to it. The younger version of me would never believe there'd come a time in my life when I could have had a fun, exciting weekends, going out with friends, going on dates, doing fun activities during the day, relaxing, unwinding. And instead of doing that, I would just want to sit at a coffee shop or in my apartment in front of a laptop, being miserable, unhappy, something's not working, and do that the entire weekend. I would prefer that to a fun weekend out. It's a bit funny how people say entrepreneurship is freedom, but that's only if you make it, and that's a big if. Until then, it's freedom from sleep, friends, family, a social life, a life at all. But anyway, going back to the original question, why am I in Brazil? And it's that the past few months leading up to this, I knew that I needed a break. For the first time in my life, I felt seriously, actually burned out to the point where it was deeply affecting my productivity. So I'm just losing in both areas. Talked to my boxing coach about this a little bit, and he highly recommended coming to Brazil. I looked online, safe, cheap, decent internet, great weather. I didn't even do too much research. I found this place that I thought seemed cool, and I just booked the flight to it. And honestly, it's one of the best decisions I've made in the past 4 years. I'm so grateful to be here. I finally started and was actually able to, it's gonna sound crazy, relax again. Started dating, going to the beach, going to cool hiking spots, trying to force myself to take time off and actually enjoying that time off, not just thinking about business or if I go accept this invitation, it's less time to work on this. I started to feel alive for the first time in a while. And don't get me wrong, I felt alive when I started this business, more alive than I've ever felt in my life. But I realized that Tim Ferriss is right. He's probably had years of experience to know this, but if you're gonna have periods of deep, intense work, you need periods of intense pleasure, relaxation. It doesn't have to be degenerate, but to balance that out. Otherwise, you're gonna get cooked, and that's not productive at all, and that's not gonna help out anybody. So I came to Brazil to relax, and as crazy as this sounds, I'm amazed that I actually was able to relax and enjoy some time here and not just work nonstop. Anyway, now, meeting starting in like 3 minutes, and time to get back to work.
Red carpet, I'm on my way. Rock stars, you know what they say. More is more, less is a bore. Who's the ruler of your life?
So I got a couple hours of work done, and I know I just ate, but one of the things that I love about Floripa is the buffets. In America, buffets have practically gone extinct. Maybe you got some sad golden corral somewhere out in the Midwest. Inflation, obesity, probably both of those have killed them off. But here they're quite common, and I personally love them because you don't waste time waiting for food. You can mix up your plate every now and then so you don't get bored of the same stuff. And best of all, very easy to hit your macros. The only downside is notice that pretty much all of them close at 3 p.m. So we're headed there now before they turn into like a regular restaurant where you have to order your food and wait for it. So there's two main buffet spots near me in Lagoa. The first one is in this little mini mall. It's nothing fancy, pretty small actually, but it has the absolute best steak and grilled onions I've ever had. I mean, just mouth-wateringly good, life-changingly good. The kind of like, maybe I should move here just to get this food kind of good. Everything else, the chicken, the other cuts of beef, it's nice, but that steak and onions in a different league. The only problem is they don't have it every day, so it's Russian roulette. The other buffet spot that I like, and by like I mean just the other buffet spot in the area, it has the best chicken wings, which are by far like one of my favorite foods. Fun fact, when I was in college, me and my best friend went to over 32 different places that have chicken wings just to review and rate them because we wanted the best wings in the world. In case you're wondering, this spot won. It was Halal Wings Plus in San Francisco. Definitely a sketchy neighborhood, but worth it for the chicken wings. So I love chicken wings, and even their grilled chicken slaps. Like, it's nothing I've had in my entire life. I don't know how they managed to make plain chicken taste this good, but props to them. And of course, both places obviously have stuff for normies, sushi, fries, pasta, random carbs. Of course, we can't eat that garbage. We want to feel good and look good, and we want our kids to be special and not special needs. The only downside is I'm also willing to bet that everything cooked here is in seed oils, which is a huge L. But again, taking what we can get. Like I said, the chicken is absolutely amazing at place number 2, but you just can't beat that steak and onions combo at place number 1. So it'll always be my first bet. And today, we got it. God is good. So normally when I eat, I just pop in my AirPods, listen to an audiobook, maybe take some notes, but I figured today I'd talk to you boys. And there's two things that come to mind that we need to talk about. Firstly, small thing, is I notice I get a good amount of stares here. Like, Floripa gets tourist, sure, especially in the summer, but it's not an international city at the level of like Buenos Aires or Rio, which are huge hubs for foreigners. So me being a gringo, aka a foreigner, who looks Indian is apparently pretty interesting. A chick did tell me it's because I'm tall and attractive, which is nice to hear, but let's be real, it's more of like a, oh, I haven't seen many people that look like him. That's interesting. Not like some sort of racist, like, oh, let's all lynch this guy kind of thing. Although I've heard this place is a little racist towards blacks, but I'm a little skeptical now. I mean, it's 2025. Like, you say anything and they call you a racist. But back to the other point I want to talk about is, speaking of noticing things, there's something I noticed day 1, hour 1, minute 1 of landing here, and that's that the women here are something different. In fact, let me tell you a story. Back before World War II started, there was a Soviet guy who wanted to get into a concentration camp like Daku or Auschwitz. You heard that right. Like, he was trying to get arrested to get into a concentration camp. The way he saw it was, look, I'm in Germany, or maybe he was in Poland at the time. People are disappearing to these camps and they're not coming out. We don't know what's happening. We don't know what's going on. Someone's got to figure this out. And he decided that someone's going to be him. He manages to get arrested, get into the concentration camps, and somehow, I don't know how he pulled this off, but send out letters to the rest of the world, which ended up making it to major heads of state. Even the president of the US was reading letters from him. How he managed to pull that off, I don't know. The sad part was that nobody believed him. Nobody ever thought autocracies, how do you say that word? Autocracies? Autocracies. Atrocities. Nobody thought those kinds of atrocities. Nobody thought that things this bad could be happening in the world. They're like, yeah, maybe some war crimes are happening, but nobody thought what was going on to the Jews could actually be happening. They thought he was exaggerating, like, who is this guy? They only had one source. They just chose not to believe him. I tell this story because that would be like me telling you how beautiful the girls in Brazil are. Like, you just can't believe it unless you've been here. You can't get your mind around it. When I had come back from Argentina, I was talking to my boxing coaches, and he's like, yeah, how are the girls there? I'm like, yo, they're nothing like you've ever seen before. They're really cute. They turn your head when you're in a cafe trying to get some work done. And he was like, no. Brazil is something different. And like many people, I did not believe him until I came here. I came expecting to show up to a different country, not a different planet. The stereotype that I had would be like, favelas, everyone's darker, I'm a mix of like the natives and Africans. No. Here, maybe in the South, it's a bit different where people are primarily black from what I understand. But the bulk, a huge chunk, of Brazil is a mix of Portuguese, Italian, Spanish, basically European, white, tanned, fit, genetically blessed. It's like a 2-punch combo, especially because the fitness culture here is insane. Everyone, and I mean everyone, works out. The girls, the guys, the grandpas, the gays, and everyone in between. The same way we have a Starbucks on every corner in the US. They have a gym or a CrossFit studio or a yoga studio or a cycling class. They call it like a spinning class here. Everywhere. Like, we have coffee shops, they have gyms. There's just, when you go on the street, like, you could go to the gas station and you'll just pass a couple like dimes, some Instagram models right there, which is pretty insane. I've never seen anywhere in the world with this many attractive girls. And it's definitely some nice motivation to work hard and be more successful so you can pull a girl like that, because the game's still the game. I've been in Brazil for 2 months. friends. I've cold approached a lot of girls at cafes, the gym. I've used dating apps. I've gone out with a bunch of cute cats, but I've never pulled like a 10 out of 10 Instagram model type. Like these girls might live in the third world, but they got Instagram. They know how hot they are. And the market is and always will be winners take all. But the reason why I bring this up is because I'm very surprised seeing what I've seen, that Brazil isn't just crawling with old white grandpas like Thailand or the Philippines, dudes looking for like a wife out here. I don't know what white guys are doing on that side of the world when Brazil is right here. Like, I really can't explain it unless you've been here, but there's something different about this place. And also I should mention that this fitness culture thing I bring up, it's more local to Floripa than Brazil, but it's just insane. Like, they're so attractive. It's almost like you shouldn't come here. It's basically like it's like doing drugs, right? You'll get a high that you will never get again. So it's not even worth doing. In fact, I take it all back. Don't come here, stay away, because if you come here, it will ruin the rest of the world too. You will never look at any country, especially America, the same way again. You'll either live here or always be regretting it. Anyway, I finished up my plate. I'm gonna grab a little bit more fruit before we head out. I'll probably head back home for a minute, throw my clothes in the dryer, and then head back to the cafe.
Happiness is just a disguise. It gets you nowhere. Oh, you know what they say. Stay deranged. I've got to stay deranged. Oh, hunters will hunt. Take a step.
So back at the cafe, somebody took my favorite spot. And in fact, I met a cool guy who speaks English earlier today, and he was actually saying like, oh, I always see you there like a statue because it's the best spot in the house. But I came to this spot, they don't have an outlet here, so I might have to hop inside. But at this point in the day, I'm done with everything related to work, meetings, Slack messages, PR reviews, emails, everything's been handled. So now I can switch gears and jump to my favorite part, which is the business, Find Time, the app that I'm working on. But before I can do that, I have to call my bank for the 10th time to let them know that yes, I am in Brazil, just like I was yesterday, and the day before, and the day before. And by bank, I mean some guy at an Indian call center with a PlayStation 3 level trash microphone. Seems to be a problem with most foreigners, even the guys I've met who have international credit cards with no foreign transaction fees. Is what it is, and let's get it.
Take me somewhere, wanna feel alive. Far from the same old streets of mud and concrete. Take me to weddings, hear heart pound. I need that something, somewhere, just to make me feel.
You know, while I'm working, let me let you in on a very interesting story that happened at this cafe a couple weeks back. So I'm walking in the morning to do my usual work. At the same time I'm walking up to the cafe, I noticed this very cute girl walking out, white chick. And we both lock eyes for a little bit too long, the point where I feel a little bit of tension there. So I figured, let me go open. And I say, hi, good morning in Portuguese, putting out a very positive, good energy in the air. And then I ask her, do you speak English? She's like, oh, no English. So I said, oh, no problem. Let me translate something. Reach into my phone and type in on Google Translate, I saw you and I think you're cute, which is super basic, but it's how I've dated quite a few girls here. She sees it, looks at me a bit surprised, and I just could tell like something's off, she's not feeling it. And then she says something and points to somebody behind me. And I see it's one of the cafe workers, this black guy, who's, you know, a bit scrawny and, to be honest, like, not to be disrespectful, but like kind of an uglier dude. And she says something in Portuguese and I don't really understand. He looks at me a little bit weird and I'm trying to understand what's happening. Then it hits me a couple moments later that wait, they're together. Just because of like the attractiveness and the color difference, like it took me a little bit longer than normal. So I just say, oh, you know, no problem, you know, take it as a compliment, have a nice day. I go about it, don't think too much of it. So I'm in the cafe getting work done, and half an hour later, the owner of the cafe comes out with another worker and he's like, hey, we need to talk to you. This other worker speaks like some broken English, and the owner's like, yeah, you know, the cafe worker, the black guy from earlier, he complained that you flirted with his girlfriend and he was very offended. And oh, he said he's seen you talk to other girls. And obviously this is like a very awkward interaction, but I'm like, yeah, you know, I didn't know they were together. How could I have known? If I had known, I wouldn't have talked to her. You know, basic stuff like that. This is probably every guy's worst fear, that they're like gonna cold approach a girl and like somebody else gets involved and calls them out for it. They get kicked out, cops come to get arrested. That's sort of overthinking thing. But I'm trying to explain it to them. But the guy doesn't speak good enough English, I think, to understand what I'm saying back to the owner. So they're like, oh, you know, what if the girls you talk to are married? You know, it's complicated. It was just a very awkward interaction. Then the original black guy comes up now. And I don't believe in apologizing if you haven't done something wrong. So I don't believe in saying sorry for this case. How could I have known? Get over it, bro. But I just tell him like, hey, I didn't know you guys were together. If I would, I wouldn't have talked to her. That same basic thing I've been trying to say for the last 10 minutes to the owner and this other worker. And the other worker translates it. I go to shake his hand and he won't even shake it, which really just struck a chord with me, bro. Like, grow up. Like, seriously. I ended up talking to all three of those people later. The owner, the kind of half-broken English cafe guy, and the original boyfriend black guy. And I kind of told them, like, hey, I wrote a pretty lengthy paragraph explaining myself, and like they're both like, oh yeah, we understand, no problem. And then they kind of told me that everyone at the cafe likes you, don't worry about it, whatever. But honestly, the biggest surprise in all this was those two were together. I still just don't believe that. Something's not making sense in that story. Like, this chick was like a 6.2, and this dude was like a 3.5. Like, no. Like, this chick's gotta have some racist father or something giving her a fantasy about. Even when I've seen them interact at the cafe, just something seems off. I still don't believe that's her boyfriend. They gotta have some weird, like, LGBTQ, like, she sees other guys type of thing. Like, something's not making sense. But also, I talked to one of my friends here, and I kind of told him this story, and we're kind of laughing about it, cracking up. Like, I'm cool with the cafe workers there, unless they see this video, and they might get a bit offended, but whatever. I talked to my friend, and he's saying that, yeah, Portuguese men tend to take a lot more offense to that sort of thing. They get worked up more. They're a bit more possessive with their women. I wasn't aware of this. I thought it was a bit weird, but yeah, I guess that's how Portuguese men are. Maybe someone's gonna say in the comments, but not all Portuguese men. But I think there is a bit more of like a sort of machismo possessiveness of the women. If this happened in the US, like, I think I would have just given the guy a fist bump, like, oh, I don't know, my bad, bro, like, have a good day. But yeah, I found this interaction very, very strange. I mean, it's a funny story now, something to laugh about with some friends, but if you are in Brazil or Portugal, whatever it's worth, just do a double check for a ring and a boyfriend before you go in for a cold approach. So I got a bunch of stuff done. I scripted out a ton of YouTube shorts. Some of them I think you'll really, really like. I don't personally love making short form content. I prefer long form, high quality stuff, but a tip I got from Russell Brunson's Traffic Secrets, 10 out of 10 book. All of his books in his trilogy. If you want to make money online, just read them. He talks about putting out one piece of content every single day. As I don't have a team with me to make production, high quality, long form content every single day, we're going with shorts. There is some benefit to them. Like, you're able to see an entire breadth of information and then dive into what you specifically want. So BFS versus DFS, breadth versus depth. But to be honest, if you want to be the best version of yourself, you want to be as competent, confident, well put together, successful, rich, and everything in between, you'd be better off reading the books on my reading list. They're broken up into health, wealth, relationships, escaping the matrix, and those are the greatest gems I've ever found. If you just read a handful of those, you're better off the majority of people on the planet. You would have learned more than they'll learn their entire life over the course of a few weeks while you tear through them. Like, to be blunt, you'd be better off reading just one of those books than you would watching every video I've ever made. So reading list, link below if you're interested. But anyway, I was also working on an update for the app. I read a really good book a while back. Don't quote me, but I want to say it was Ready, Fire, Aim. And it talked about this concept of thinking about what people do, not just when they're using your product, but before they use your product, after they use your product, when they're using their product. And they got me thinking, okay, so somebody's using my product first thing in the morning, they go outside and do their challenges, or even inside their house, they have it set up like that, doing their steps, their squats, their jumping jacks, they're doing their gratefulness, their QR code scanning, whatever the case might be. They've done it now, they're awake. What's next? What else do people do in the morning? Well, this varies a lot from person to person, but some of us pray, some of us meditate, some of us check the traffic to work or campus or the gym. Some of us check the weather, some of us read the word of the day, or whatever the case might be. So I'm building all of that into the home screen of the app. What's really cool is after the user completes their alarm and they're scrolling on the home screen, not only can they swipe on the widgets to see little bits of information very quickly, weather today, weather tomorrow, weather the day after, or traffic to the gym, campus, work. They can also not just tap on the widget and a sheet pops up giving a ton of information. They can resize the widgets. They can move them around, delete them, add them. And when I implement some AI in the future that suggests what widgets people might want, they don't even have to add them manually. They can just see, oh, there's this new widget. Let me keep it, let me remove it. And I'm rambling a little bit, but I'm really excited for what this will do for the users who use the app. I think it'll really transform their mornings even more. Because imagine, not only are they set up with all the basics, and not only can they add other widgets that they think they might, they don't even have to waste time adding them. We will suggest it for them. Obviously, it's still needs a ton of work for it hits production, but I'm excited for this and it's coming out soon. Now, at this point in most vlogs, like, this is where somebody cuts to something else, they do something else fun, or they switch different location, but this is a realistic day in the life. I'm not gonna switch to another cafe to get some better visuals. I'm not gonna pretend that I'm just surfing now in the middle of the day. There's nothing really that I like to do more than work. So we're gonna sit here and keep working.
I take anything, you got to stay out. The longest no tomorrow, cause reality's boring. Miss the train home, talk to a stranger. Now I see sparkles everywhere I go.
So another work stretch done, and since we're talking about this cafe, I've actually made quite a few friends here. When you become a digital nomad, you meet a lot of interesting people around the world in these nomad hubs, and one of the guys I met in this cafe is in his 20s. He started his own business selling kitchen products on Amazon, which made him more money than a software engineer working in San Francisco. So he's in his 20s, killing it, and he's also absolutely jacked and incredibly good looking. He's on self-improvement, meditates, and finding people like that, if you're just regularly in the US, is just incredibly rare. Like, you might get lucky and find, some guys around you who want to get jacked and rich. rich. But to find people who kind of share the same beliefs as us, being on self-improvement, maxing out multiple areas of life, it's like 0.0001%. Millionaire gym bros are like a mythological creature. Most people fail at both. Most people fail at everything. So finding people like that, I've seen a lot more of them when I'm traveling as a nomad than I have back home, even in very rich areas. It's also a bit sad because you're constantly saying goodbye to these people who are so incredible and they inspire you in so many ways. And there's also other people who inspire you for other reasons. Like I've met a 30-year-old teacher who just one day was like, I want to travel the world. She quit her job. She said, I have enough savings to travel the whole world for 1 year. When I get back to the UK, I'll figure it out from there. And she just went for it. Like somebody asked her like, hey, you want to change plans and go to Alaska with me? And she's like, yeah, if you're paying, like I'm down. And I find that level of risk taking very incredible. In general, people who travel, people who live abroad are already a higher tier of risk takers than the average people. Most people don't take any risks ever and live pretty miserable average lives. And then lastly, you meet some unusual characters like OnlyFans models who travel the world while filming, which is surprisingly more common than you might think.
Yo, since the internet just went out here, I've noticed this trend where the cafe has a lot of people in it, but it's also a general trend I've noticed in Brazil. It seems like every 3 weeks there's a storm or some kind of outage which lasts a couple of hours. And being from the Bay Area, that's just pretty shocking to me. Anything more than like once every 9 months is wild. It's not the end of the world. I do have a prepaid SIM, so I can set up with a hotspot. I'm not doing anything too network heavy. I suppose it's something to keep in mind if you're traveling South America. Which, speaking of, if you are going to travel South America, I'd highly recommend you get one of the newer iPhones or Androids which has a virtual SIM card. You can just search up on Google or in the App Store something like prepaid SIM X country and see all the options out there. They'll send it to you straight through WhatsApp or your email. You hold down on the QR code, it downloads into your phone. You can use that either in combination with your plan back from the US. Some carriers like T-Mobile give you like very slow data and free calls, or use it instead. But it is a 10 out of 10 hack. The only thing I'll say here is if you're doing it for the first time, don't just buy entire like months ahead of time. Try it out for just 1 or 2 days to see if the coverage is actually good, because some of the providers are pretty bad. You don't want to be locked in for them for a month and have to buy one like I've been through. Try it out for a few days, just install it like when you're on the plane about to take off the day before. And if it's bad, you only wasted 1 or 2 days instead of prepaying for like 3 or 6 months.
Coming up to the back line.
Oh boy, so you hear that? The bar I normally go to just take girls out for like the first date. It's right next to my place over there.
Here it is.
They're playing Vietnam War music, which has been on my mind for a while now. Like the last 8 songs on Spotify are all like House of the Rising Sun and just miscellaneous Vietnam songs. I don't know why, but it really strikes a chord with me. There's something very like romanticized about it, like being sent off to war, even though your country doesn't give a shit about you. Like the Vietnam veterans, like imagine being forced to go fight a war that most of the country doesn't even support. And then you come back home and your own country, the people there don't like you for having fought in that war. You were forced to fight it. And then you got chicks saying, oh, you look my body, my choice, as if men aren't like forced in the draft at age 18 or they face serious repercussions from the government. I want to say like the Vietnam War Memorial that exists in Washington, D.C. I've seen it. They only built that like 20 years after the war actually happened, which is pretty wild to think about. So very kind of the US government to honor the veterans who died and who fought. You treated them like crap. But anyway, I was going to tell you that I'm usually the last person to leave that cafe. Like I wouldn't even blame them for charging me rent. But today's a bit different, and keep that little sunset coming in. But today I left a bit early to meet a chick for dinner, and I didn't want to plan it too late, so it screws up my sleep routine overnight and sets up the next day for L in the morning. I was going to stop at the supermarket and the pharmacy to grab a few things, sparkling water, mouth tape, but she texted me like 2 minutes ago. She's actually ready, which means she'll be ready on time to meet for dinner. And I was so surprised by that, so I didn't even have time to stop at the supermarket or the pharmacy. Plan now is just hop in my apartment. I'm going to take a quick shower, brush the teeth, brush the tongue, because if you're a guy, you're going to, have a stench throughout the day. You just take your fingers right now and put them like under your balls in your pelvis area. Smell pretty bad. You don't put a girl's face around there. So get freshened up and then also clean up the apartment too. Just toss out some trash, open up the windows, blast the AC, get the male stench plus the stench of beef tallow out of there. Yeah, I'll literally just open the door and this place has a strong stench in it. So let me actually blast the AC right now. Put it on max cold, put it on turbo, and let me also pop open these windows. All right, some fresh air in here too, and then we'll be all set.
All right, so the original plan was to set up a steakhouse as usual, since basically all you would eat when you're in carnivore. Brazil makes it easy though. And I was looking forward to a nice provoleta cheese, some entrecôte steak, but Hearing about a new spot in town that's been popping off called The Pit, which has American Southern style food. And I've been missing home quite a bit recently. We passed Thanksgiving and I missed it. So this place had good reviews and I figured, let's check it out. It's been a while since I had a cheat meal. One of the pros of living abroad where the currency is much cheaper is you can try like 8 different things on the menu to see what you like food A/B testing. So I ordered some brisket, some wings and chicken fingers to get that protein in. And then I also grabbed some fries and onion rings. The brisket was good. The wings were nice, but the best thing I ordered was this mac and cheese with kupim on top. This was absolutely delicious. The mac and cheese literally just killed it. This was my first time trying this cut of beef called kupim. It's very rich, beefy, ultra savory, so I'm glad I got to try it for the first time. We'll definitely order this again. Most people tend to screw up this meat where it tastes a bit chewy and rubbery, but this place absolutely killed it. I also tried cocina for the first time, this Brazilian fried snack I see everywhere at gas stations and little convenience grab-and-go stores. It's basically fried dough on the outside and then shredded chicken and cheese on the inside, this teardrop shape. It was nice, but just a bit too fried and greasy for me. I'm not gonna order it again, but I'm glad I got to try it. So the girl I'm with doesn't speak a conversational level of English. She does speak more than the average person in Floripa. And I've noticed in general in Brazil, people don't speak as much English compared to other countries in South America. I've been to like Chile, Argentina, Colombia, even though they speak more in Floripa than the rest of Brazil, which I find is very strange, like a bit of a red flag for me. If someone doesn't speak English, like English is the language of the internet. It's the language of the entire Western world. How do you not speak English? Like you limit your opportunities, your income potential so much by not knowing English. What job do you have if you don't speak English? Like, technology has come very far. It's 2025, the end of the year. And as I'm saying this, the new AirPods can translate live into your ears if you're talking to someone. And soon enough, might have chips in our brains. So the language barriers are being broken down day by day. Funny enough, the girl I'm with is a doctor and we had a pretty nice conversation about health and wellness. We both made a deal to not judge each other for this super greasy meal we're eating and just call it a nice night out. I'm planning on a full pricing breakdown of how much everything costs when I do my Floripa review video, which I'll have linked below in the description if you're interested. In case you're wondering, this meal came out to just under 50 bucks. The 10 eggs for breakfast with that smoothie came out to around 16. The buffet meal, 15. My apartment is 800 bucks per month. And the gym I took you to earlier today, I pay about 100 bucks per month for that. That is one of the more expensive gyms in Brazil and I pay for it month over month instead of a contract, which I'm sure would save you a lot of money. And taking Uber to get like 20 minutes away is around $6, $7. So yeah, the price of living here is insanely cheap compared to the US, especially if you come from like the Bay Area, California, where a tent 40 miles from San Francisco still costs like 2 million. And while I am very grateful that I make good money and I can afford a nice life for myself in the Bay Area, it's nice seeing how far your dollar goes in South America. All right, so just wrapped up that lovely dinner. Now we're heading home. And I know some of you might be thinking that I spent the whole day working if you just subtract out the gym workout and this dinner, and that seems pretty lame. But to be honest, this day is a bit more relaxed than normal. Most of the time I would not be sleeping in, so I would get up even earlier, get more work done, and I would probably eat dinner by myself, not go out with a chick. And a huge part of me just wishes that was the case. I could have spent more of today just in that cafe working, because the work itself becomes addictive. When you remove video games, TV, all that garbage distractions, the grind becomes the most fun thing you can do. It becomes play. Seeing yourself grow and make more money, become a bigger, better version of yourself, and seeing your businesses do better, it's the biggest high in the world, better than anything else you can get from life, knowing that you're transforming your life. Plus, if you want to be exceptional, you have to be willing to make the sacrifices that most people aren't. The only reason why I can live this lifestyle right now, where I can travel South America and work remotely and have this level of flexibility and freedom, is because I put in the work in the past. I grinded hard in college and after to get a high-paying job where I could work remotely. I didn't party, I didn't waste time watching TV shows. I didn't blame capitalism or billionaires or the patriarchy for my problems. I just worked to build this great life. Most people around me didn't. That's why they don't have what I have. The amount of work I put into my life 5-6 years ago pales in comparison to how much I'm putting in now. So if I built this life working that hard then, imagine the life I'll have having putting in the work. I've gone down a whole tongue twister, but basically I'm saying I'm working really hard now and I'm sure that I'll build a much better life for myself in the future. I'm grateful for what I've got, but I've got bigger and bigger goals. And the part of my day that puts the biggest smile on my face is when I'm moving forward on those goals. So back at home now, I feel like a hypocrite for preaching self-improvement, going to bed early, when I've only been able to do that about half the nights that I've been in Brazil. I try to plan dates early, but time gets away from you. So the plan is I'll just show you my nighttime routine when I do get prepared for the next day, and then we'll close up shop. So first off, I trim up my beard. I know it won't look as fresh in the morning, but I prefer to trim at night for 2 reasons. Firstly, you can't use screens that 1 hour before you go to bed. So if I have to trim up at some point during the day, why not do it then? And secondly, I don't want to trim in the morning because that's the most focused time I have with the least amount of brain fog, least amount of distractions. So let's just do as much work that I'm not worried about miscellaneous things like trimming my beard then. After that though, I brush my teeth, floss, skincare, all the basics. I'll make a full video soon on my testosterone safe science-backed skincare routine, but I'm using a retinoid right now, which is the closest thing we have to a miracle drug for your skin. Add a tiny dot on some moist skin, spread it out, and it will do wonders for you over time. After that, I'm using beef tallow as a natural moisturizer. I hit the beach a couple times earlier last week, so my skin's been looking a bit red and purple on the sides. This is helping a lot in taking care of that. And then after I finish up the whole bathroom routine, I'll do a bit of journaling. Not the cliche like pen and paper setup. I basically just open the journaling app on my iPhone. Then I use the AirPods as a mic and I basically just talk out loud to journal whatever I want. I'll run through things I'm worried about, things I'm sad about, and ask big questions like, am I moving closer to my goals? Did I win today or waste it? What mistakes did I make? How can I fix them tomorrow? Basically just give myself myself a way to reflect on the day so I don't overthink at night, and I know what I have to work on and improve as the days go by. It takes about 5 minutes, cheaper than therapy, and you don't have some bimbo judging you. Then sometimes after that, I'll call home. It's about the holidays, Thanksgiving season right now, so I'm thinking about family a lot and not being there for the holidays. But if I already called them recently or I just finished my call with them, I'll just put on a podcast. I prefer not to do an audiobook at this time. With an audiobook, I'll overthink about what should I remember for my next book review, and I'll try to really focus in and take in the book and everything it has to offer. And I feel like it doesn't help me unwind. It just like adds a little bit of stress. I want to actually focus on the book when I have time to focus on it. Right now, I want to relax before bed. So a podcast, usually Modern Wisdom, does the trick to help me unwind and not really be so in my head. And when listening to that, I'll lay out my outfit, which is the exact same outfit every day. I'll prep my water bottle and supplements, tidy up the place a little bit, and just make sure the next morning starts out great with everything already ready to go. Because I'm a huge believer in the philosophy that if you win the morning, you win the day. All right, so wrapping up for the night, one of the last things I'll do is just take my phone and pop it on this microwave right here so I don't like scroll myself into oblivion or check Gmail or WhatsApp either last thing at night or first thing in the morning. Obviously this, and also to just make sure that I walk out of bed to turn off the alarm and I'll just turn it off and then accidentally fall asleep again. That's obviously not my real phone. I'm recording with my real phone. That's my trap phone. And by trap phone, I mean it's where I keep like my dating apps and social media and stuff. So it's just off my main phone. I don't use it all the time or open it on accident. And then over here in this little nook and cranny, we got the earplugs, the mouth tape, the head harness, and the remote for the AC to get this place nice and chill. I normally turn that on the hour before I go to bed, but I kind of had it running before, then turn it off and on again. But get this place nice and cold. This is 21 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but normally I think I keep my room back home at around 68. And then I get a lot of questions about what exact products I use, the testosterone safe skincare and clothing, and then the everyday carry and nighttime routine stuff. It's all linked below in my kits. They are affiliate links because I'm a greedy, bloodthirsty, money-hungry capitalist, and long live the Republic. Although to be honest, a lot of them aren't even affiliate links. I'll just link you directly to whoever's selling it on their website. I could make a few more bucks selling some subpar, similar thing from Amazon, but I want you to have the best gear. And trust me when I tell you, I've ran through dozens, if not hundreds of items to find the best king in every category. Because I'm a big believer that the tools you use, especially the ones on a day-to-day basis, have a huge part to play in your success today and in the future. So now that we're at the end of the night, the second I hit this bed, I'm just filled with an overwhelming sense of relaxation and gratefulness. The grateful that I have a place to lie in, grateful that I've had such an amazing, incredible day, especially because once you get the journaling done, all those like thoughts about I should have done this, I could have done that, this, that, and the other are out of your head. You just feel so much more at ease. So being in this warm bed, or I wouldn't say warm, this nice, cold, chilled bed, I'm really, really grateful. And I hope you got a good sense of what a realistic day in the life is like as a digital nomad. It's not a highlight reel. It rains. It's not always as social as it's made out to be. Sometimes it's a bit boring and it's a ton of work, but this is what a regular day-to-day life looks like for me. And yeah, of course, it's a bit more fun on weekends. Sometimes I'll indulge a bit and have a bit more of a social week, but this is my life. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me. And if you want to support me, support the channel, and support yourself, I'd highly recommend you check out that app, Find Time, that I built. It will transform your morning, which will transform your day. And with a better day, day after day, I think you'll build the life you really want for yourself. And I'm looking forward to seeing you do it. All right, stay straight, bro.